My father is the central character in my life's hardest lesson, the intense need for self-awareness. I'm not here to blast him too much, but his behavior became the fundamental reason I learned to pause long and hard before I speak or react. And I've learned that perhaps it is possible to have too much self-awareness, but I still think that most people don't have enough. So I'm here to share what I do know to shed some light. So often as a child, I would hear and witness how whatever my father happened to be complaining about or accusing others of were the very things that I would see him doing, or the very things that I could also say about him. He would mention how others talk way too much and you can't get a word in, or he would complain about his brother's house being too full of junk and all his unfinished projects and grandiose visions that he would never get around to, and describing all the things that he plans to do without seeing any action towards them. Meanwhile, our house is also full of unused stuff and dreams gathering dust from my perspective. The exact way that he feels about his mother and what he accuses her of doing is exactly to a T what he does to me and how I feel about him. And the way he said she goes through the motions of texting him nice things, but he doesn't feel any real love behind it. And I can sadly relate. And it boggles my mind that he's incapable of recognizing it. I've tried. And I can't remember when I first heard the concept of when you point a finger at someone, there's three fingers pointing back at you. And so that statement was forever stitched into the fabric of my character. So for me personally, before I complain about anything, most especially to anyone else, I always check myself, how am I doing this? Even the Bible, stressing that we must remove the log from our own eye first, is common knowledge, but I've rarely seen it practiced to this degree. Whatever triggers you about someone is nearly always something unaddressed within ourselves, and you have to be willing to ask for it to be revealed to you. Even if you can't figure out how it's a reflection of you immediately on your own, we can humbly communicate it with self-awareness just in case. Here are 2 ways that I might practice this. Humble communication could look like me saying, let's say I think someone's being selfish. I could say, I think you're quite selfish, and I recognize that I might be selfish in ways as well, so can you help me see how we could both do better? And then self-reflection, when I often attract people who don't respond or ignore my questions, when I do my very best to do the opposite and respond to everything and everyone, I'm like, how am I doing this? I really try to search myself and ponder, where might I be ignoring parts of myself? Or what am I supposed to learn from this? And before accusing anyone, you ignore me or you don't respond. Going back to nonviolent communication, I always express it from my own experience and my own perspective, saying something like, I feel hurt that you didn't respond and was wanting more connection and continuity with you. And so has there ever been a time where you noticed I didn't respond in the way you would have liked? I also recognize when I accuse men of being avoidant, I realize that I'm actually the avoidant one of real intimacy by choosing the ones that are unavailable and distant in the first place. Most people move through the world convinced the problem is everyone else outside of them. And the moment you start holding a mirror instead of a magnifying glass, your relationships transform, your communication transforms, you transform. You become the kind of person who doesn't just react, you respond with integrity, humility, and with curiosity. And the point is not to be flawless, but willing to be radically honest. Just a quick little caveat in terms of nonviolent communication, judging someone as selfish or avoidant is in fact a judgment and not something I would recommend doing. Like, I would encourage you to practice language away from that, but that's kind of our quick knee-jerk reaction, like internally, like, oh, they're so selfish, but like, how am I being selfish? And so I just wanted to throw that out there. Thank you for watching and thank you for being here. And I would love to hear from you in the comments if this video made you think of someone that maybe would benefit from this video, or if you thought of something that made you self-reflect, like, huh, I actually can see how that makes sense. I would love to hear your experience, and I hope you have a blessed week. Thank you.